So here's the preview on the Bundesliga match day 23 to be played from the 3rd of March till the 5th of March 2023. We have these fixtures here. We have the true prices compiled by our betting software, Betty. That software has been running for decades, 32 years, 33 now, 33 years, and it always has proven, it's proven itself, it's working well. So it compiles these prices to 100%, so the sum of the reciprocal of these faire quoten true prices you see there, the sum will always be 100%. So we have the true price, which means if you would get this price, then you would end up even. If you get more than this true price, you actually have value in your bet. And that's the way that my model has been working over the decades, as I said. And of course, the fine-tuning of the settings that are responsible for the compilation of these figures is pretty well. It is a task, but as soon as you register here, you will get my settings, which are actual, but I have to admit that they may not be perfect. There's still some fine-tuning may be needed, especially in view of, I'm rather promoting this software now than caring for those perfect settings. Still, it makes a lot of sense, whatever there's behind it, which I have shown in the past. So if there is an indication, I will talk about it. I can also talk about the other games, but let's start from here. So in the game between Dortmund and Leipzig, we obviously have the second and third forces in the Bundesliga facing each other that are still maybe hoping to catch Bayern Munich one day, or maybe this year. But anyway, it is a fight for the maybe title or for second place. So it's it is number 2 against the number 3. Who's number 2? Most likely it is Borussia Dortmund. They are still ahead in the table, and so it is not the big question who at the moment is better, especially with Dortmund starting with 9 wins into 2023, which means outstanding run. Leipzig are right now in 4th place, just 4 points behind. They also are on a good streak, but not such a good as Dortmund, although the goal difference is the same between these two, so you could still argue. Still, the indication is very slightly on Dortmund. 2.24 the market lays this price, and 2.15 is the true price, so I recommend a bet. In Union against Cologne, it's a bit funny that obviously market always claiming Union are not that good. They are still in 3rd place, just 3 points behind the top 2, Dortmund and Bayern. So they obviously are pretty good, having a pretty good campaign. And their home record is 7 wins, 3 draws, 0 losses. So they withstood all the attacks from the big guns as well. Cologne are a bit ups and down. They are in 12th place now, 6 wins, 8 losses, so just mediocre at best. Goal difference -4. So computer says very easily you can bet on Union Berlin, which makes a lot of sense to me, especially with the excellent home record, and Cologne on the road are 1-5-5, so just a single win, 5 draws, 5 losses. So they lost actually almost half their games, which is 2.0, would be like 50%. We would need. Anyway, I would follow this indication, as I call it, it is because Union lost 3-0 in Munich without a real chance. So when they were fighting really for the top spot, everyone could witness they are not good enough for Bayern Munich. Okay, fine. But that shouldn't be a reason for a price of 2.0. Anyway, my software disagrees, my algorithms do, and so do I, because I can't do otherwise. In the Mainz against Hoffenheim, I have to admit it's a very small indication. of 368 compared to 352 true price. Still, I can imagine Hoffenheim at one point, they went down to, with a terrible streak of plenty of losses, just one draw here or there, went down to 16th place when they were starting to look for Europe actually in the early stages of the season. But now they are going down to relegation spot, 16th place. But still, I can imagine there is some potential in their side. 368. Mainz are in 8th place now with 9 wins, 8 losses. I may underrate Mainz, I don't know. So if any, I still can imagine that at some point Hoffenheim's bad streak comes to an end. They were a bit better against Dortmund than the other games before. They still lost it, but it was Dortmund. So anyway, I do not believe so much in coach sacking, which they did already, but and that didn't help at all. Still, there's some potential in the side that they could bring to get them a result at some point. In the Gladbach against Freiburg, we have an indication on the home win. Once again, a pretty clear indication, 242, 2.06. I have to admit that I may be wrong about Gladbach, which I still rate slightly better than average actually. Maybe 9th place is fine, 8th place could be, but they are in 10th place, and maybe they rightly so are. Goal difference is -1, still their home record is pretty good. It is 7 wins in 11 games and 1 draw, 3 losses, plus 10 goal difference. And Freiburg may not be really the top side, as you may have noticed in the last game against Leverkusen, when they were actually shown somehow their limits, but maybe they are still good enough, average side, like Gladbach are, but maybe no better. It's a pretty clear indication, and I would follow this. In the Bochum-Schalke, there is a very small indication on Bochum because they have a good home record, and Schalke obviously are not so good, but recently they didn't lose the last 5, so I would simply ignore it. If you see there is an indication, it's not a real one, but very small one, then either you like it or you don't. This one I don't like. In the Augsburg against Werder, I would say no real indication. Maybe Werder Bremen. No, I don't like it. 296 is more than 283 if you like it, like in the Mainz Hoffenheim. But I don't really feel it. In the Mainz Hoffenheim, I have to say somehow I can fancy that Hoffenheim are going to win. Werder Bremen also, of course, there's always a matter of probabilities. But this one I do not like so much, so I didn't indicate it here as a bet. Still, if you like it, you can of course follow it. You don't make a mistake according to me or my figures. Stuttgart against Bayern Munich is perfectly fine. Maybe the home win. No, the draw. No, there's no indication at all. 143, no indication. Nothing more to say on that. I mean, it's pretty common to evaluate Bayern, right? Because it's not such a big problem. 143, 147, very low prices. Because pretty high probability. In the Leverkusen Hertha, it's the same thing. No indication at all, so I just leave it alone. What more can I say? I mean, it just sounds like the proper price. 156, I would do the same, so what can I bet on? Right? Same story in the Wolfsburg against Frankfurt. So if there is not an indication, there's not a lot to talk about these games, right? If we would, of course, I could look at other market, which we still do now, but there's not a real point in arguing, right? That's the way you should start from. Evaluate the games yourself, distribute the 100%, which my software does for you, and afterwards then you have the indications, and either you like it or you don't. But if you like, and if there's not an indication, what would you do about it? Okay, I pull the screws until I have an indication because I want one. Does it make sense? It doesn't so much. Anyway, now we look at the goal lines because I'm doing them, and I have to warn you, we have just over indications on the over, and this is due to the goal average is pretty high, and it's over 3 goals in the Bundesliga and has been last years and last 3 years as well. So it's always over 3 goals, and for some weird reason, market doesn't really trust this or doesn't believe it. It holds like that. And but the point could be that we are approaching the deciding stages. So also last week we had nothing but over indications, but it's not a real mistake that my compilation makes, or so that it overreacts or something like that, that it says, oh, some goals, now expect even more. It's just very small adjustments that I make with every result coming in. All the parameters driving this are cared for, are adjusted, and this you wouldn't have to care for. You just have to trust it and yeah, look at the results and yeah, trust them and so on. But there's no overreaction, still something weird going on. And I have to admit that last weekend the results weren't so good. So maybe there is a real, but there were like 4 wins in the end and 4 losses, but still an overall loss because prices were too low. They are usually under 2.0 because market of course also notices that there are little more goals than maybe in France or in lower leagues or in some other leagues. But still the prices are too high. As you can see here in the Dortmund Leipzig 162 compared to 159. We had many games with many goals when these two played. So everything is perfect. You see the total goals 3.236. If you calculate it with a table or so, I can tell you, or you can look it up yourself. But in Dortmund games we have 72 goals in 22. So this is 3.3 almost. And we have like 72, same thing. They have the same goal difference in Leipzig's games. So it would make perfect sense. The computer says there are 3.236 goals to be expected. And then we have a small indication only. Here the market could be right or better because it says, yeah, it's a top game and maybe they are a bit approaching it a bit more carefully. Maybe this would be the reason, but I wouldn't trust this. I would say the goal is still the same size. They try to score, and as soon as the first one comes, we anyway have this very regular game of football. It's just, and these two sides have been scoring especially well. So in Union Köln we have a very high indication. It's the same thing here. You can do the calculations yourself. 62 goals in Union's games and 68 in Cologne and Union. It's a total of 130 goals in 44 games. So it's a bit, that would be a bit below 3. That's right. But let's say 130 in 44, right? That would be, we needed 88, 132 goals, and there are just 130 to beat 3.0. There's a bit more, but this is because in home and away games. In Union it's only 17, this is right, in home games. In 10 games, so 2.7, but in Cologne's away games it's 35 in 11, so that's over 3.2 something, but altogether it's still, well, you could say then it would only be 2.9 goals maybe with a proper calculation, but there's a difference also in the price on the home win, so but that would be still a huge margin in that. So market simply says no goals we expect, and this is the truth. We will see on Saturday, of course, and I will, what can I predict? Not win it, or I don't know. And then you can say, what is silly computer, but usually you have to take more than just 5 games or 10 bets, or rather like 1,000, or until you can judge on that. In Mainz Hoffenheim we have the similar story. Maybe here you could also argue, or not a similar, it's a very marginal indication here, but compared to the Dortmund Leipzig, where you could say top game, oh, maybe they are a bit more careful. And in Mainz Hoffenheim you might say the same about Hoffenheim. When the team are very low, then maybe they rather care for defending their own goal instead of scoring. But in the Dortmund game it was a 0-1, but there were many chances. That's the X goal set that my shoot goals that I calculate afterwards are also confirming. So many chances there, and so you can follow this indication, because I would still fancy that Hoffenheim wouldn't try to defend their goal and nothing but that. And in Gladbach against Freiburg, we can once again have a look maybe at the goals scored so far. I may have done that already, but just to do it for you. 77 in 22 games. That's 3.5 exactly in Gladbach, and 67 in 22 games in Freiburg's games, so still more than 3. So it does make some sense. If I look at home and away record, we have 40 in 11 games in Bayern and Gladbach, that's 3.63. And in Freiburg's away games, we have 39 in 11, that's 3.54 or something like that. But anyway, all of them are above 3.5. Home and away, and the total would be 3.25. We have a pretty clear indication, and not so much that I can find wrong in that. In the other games we don't have an indication, except for the Wolfsburg against Frankfurt. We can do the same. I call it the naive fallacy, Milchmädchenrechnung we say in German, naive fallacy, that is, of course, you can't calculate like that, and it's not that what my algorithms do. But still, we can somehow validate or verify our calculations with these with this method of naive fallacy. Anyway, Wolfsburg have like I have to find them here. They have like 69 in 22. That's 3.18, I would figure. And we have Frankfurt. That's 74. In 22, so it makes sense that there should be 3. I mean, 74 is like 3.3 something. So anyway, it's a clear, or 3.36. It makes some sense that the computer compiles these prices, and you see there's some huge margin in that. So I can't see so much wrong, and we would still have a huge margin of error there. I could also tell you or calculate the goal expectancies that market would have. I can't see much wrong with this game. They are both in Europe's areas here, so nothing to fear and a lot to win. Yeah, it's a normal game, regular game of football. So anyway, now here we see all the bets in one sheet here. Dortmund win, Union win, huge indication. Hoffenheim maybe an idea, and Gladbach to win against Freiburg with the true prices you see over there. And Dortmund is an over, Union Berlin is an over, Mainz against Hoffenheim over, Gladbach against Freiburg more than or equal to 3 goals. Wolfsburg against Frankfurt more than or equal to, so from 3 goals on you are going to win. I leave it to this line, so you always know when you're winning. We could also bet the Asian way, it's 2.75 goals, more than 3.5, less than 2.25 or whatever it is. But I leave it now to the most regular market. You win when it's 3 or more, you lose when it's 2 or less. Anyway, those are my bets. This is my my prediction on this match day, if you want. So comparing with the market, there's a lot. Well, it has been enough that I said about it. You can still subscribe to my channel, like it if you like it, and I will try more of these. So thanks a lot for watching. See you anytime soon. Bye bye.